no comment. The problem is that. But this is not only a TYPO3 problem. In fact, I don't know if you are doing some consultancies for customers, but this is a problem we can see in many situations for many CMSs, because a lot of the effort is done for the front end, the view of the website, but there are no time for backend and optimizations and for contributors' way of using the backend. So this is not a TYPO3 related problem, but how many times I talk with customers and they said, oh no, not TYPO3, it's just awful. I can't do anything, it's too complicated. Okay, when I have the luck to ask them the question, so okay, can you give me your credentials so I can just look at your TYPO3 installations? I log in and this is what I see. Admin for everyone. Yes, a lot of powerful of TYPO3. So, what can we do to improve that? When I say we, I'm talking of you for the great extensions, for the great functionalities of the TYPO3 who are already existing in the core or in the tier. I'm talking of us for the job what we've done and that I will be presenting in a few slides. And I say you and us for the merge of the work we've done, because this work we've done cannot be maintained if there is no community support and if it can go in some parts to the core, because it's just impossible to maintain in each release. So the work we've done it mainly for, we started for the 4.4 TYPO3 versions, and so it was okay for the 4.5 LTS versions, and so it was a good way to use TYPO3. So before showing you this job, there are some features out of the box that I think everybody here knows. First thing is managing rights effectively, and for this task, TYPO3 is really, really good, because you have several ways, levels to manage rights, at the page level, at the module level, at the content type level, and same at the field level. So you can manage rights to provide users interfaces, users forms who are really what just need contributors for their daily task. Another great and needed features is, of course, the rich text editor. And like in the picture I show you, how many RTE I see with all features enabled. Yeah, you can put online smileys, you can change the color, you can change the font, you can change the size of anything. Right, great. But it's not the way to provide a good interface for contributor. You must activate only the features they need. You must use semantic styles to provide some kind of semantics with what we can do nowadays with HTML4. And you can activate still preview directly in the RTE, so the user can directly see while typing the result of what will be published. And please remove HTML button editions, because it's so easy to say, okay, I show you, just click here, remove these dirty P or spam tags, and it's okay. The RTE should work, and it's a developer way to configure it, but it should work with this, without this button enabled for your customers. The last part is an hidden one, and I never see it in other projects, even if it's, I think, known in the TYPO3 community. It's here since ages. Casper implements that in the early versions of TYPO3. In fact, it provides you buttons to quick access the editing of all contents. There is 2 lines of TYPO scripts to enable this functionality, and you can also go further and use this functionality to create content elements. Not all content elements by default, but just what I say content elements, it's TT content elements, in fact. In the core, there are all these functionalities, so before going further, just use it. So, what we've done, and what we've done in a limited amount of time, because we are not a big company with big resources, and what we've done is almost reusing what the TYPO3 community already did, and use it in a different way. So all I will show you represents almost 10 days of work that we've done since 2009, and without TYPO3 core developer inside. We are TYPO3 developers, but not TYPO3 core developers. So when you must plug in the core, it's a little bit harder. So the main thing is about some kind of intuitivity. Intuitivity, for me, is finding action buttons where it makes sense for contributors. So, in what I will show you, you have still access to the site's backend, but with the minimum of modules and the minimum of page tree needed. This is a typical customer experience in what we deploy as a TYPO3 website. Very limited user interface. Only a few pages that we can see in the page tree. You don't need to see other pages because you just need to edit these pages. Only a few buttons, modules, and in fact these modules are in French, so maybe not everyone is able to read this module. First module, Edition Simple, is simple editing. Okay. Second module, Aperçu, is previewing. And third module, Corbeille, is Crash. So in fact, there is only one module to edit, and it does anything automatically. No page module, no list module, it just switches the way it works. So, in fact, if you look at these tabs, we didn't make this. In fact, it's here since the old TYPO3 version 5, which never ceases, but these tabs were done by the UX team of TYPO3, so we just get this work and push it in TYPO3 4 version. For webmasters, there are more modules, and of course, there is the same module I told you, and Edition Avancée, which is advanced editing, and advanced editing is just, in fact, a mapping to the page module or the list module. It switches automatically, but in fact, you have the abstract way to manage content, and more powerful, you have access to all TYPO3 features. Validation des contenus, the last button is just about workflow, and depending of websites, you can have power mails buttons. It really depends on the needs of the contributor. So, great. Why not? But you see the website, but only a part of the website. And editing in this teeny area is just not possible, in my opinion. So, you can just hide anything if you want. And still allow the creation, the modification, the edition of all content directly in the backend. So here is the contributor interface that most of our customers are using on a daily basis. No backend at all. In fact, they are still in the backend, but it's a front end in the backend. And we have pushed action buttons where we think it makes sense. In fact, it's only shortcuts to what already exists in TYPO3. So, you say you just want to create a page. Where can I see the page? In the page tree. So, bottom of the page tree, there is a button called Ajouter une page, create a new page. Just click on it, and what you see is what you know. It is the page wizard who exists in TYPO3 since ages. So, just say, I just want to create a page in this place. OK, next. Just the few fields that the user needs, title of the page, the fields you want. Say OK, and he directly sees his result in front end, but still in the back end. So we have selected an image, we have writing a title and a small excerpt. And what you see, maybe, is this right button, grid, in the right column. And if you scroll down, you will see other buttons, another one, a green one, to create new content, and a yellow one to edit what it is, in fact, the page settings. So the content we previously written. So just say we want to add a text element in the page. Just click on the green button, and what you see is the page content wizard. It's something shipped with TYPO3. We've made some few adjustments. In fact, only the size of the images to make it bigger, so the contributor can see what the content is about. Especially when you use a lot of flexible content elements, you can put, and this is what we've done for the other tab, you can put some preview of the content elements. We're using tabs to manage where the content elements must go. This is one of the lacking features of TYPO3. There is no rights management in content creation depending on the context of the creation. You cannot create, you cannot say, this piece of content, this FCE, cannot go in that column. It was only done. If there is a solution, I'm really interested. So we only used these tabs to say, OK, column central, central column. So here are all the content elements who are done to go in the central column, and right column, colonne de droite, who are done to go in the right column. So let's say just add a text, simple text element. So I didn't check TYPO3 native versions for a long time, and what was frustrating is what when you click on text element, the first thing you do was metadata. But the first thing you want a contributor to do is to write his text. In version of TYPO3, he needs to click on the tab button, I forgot the name, to see the RTE. So we just merged some elements to provide, I think, a directory access to the RTE. It's good, but what I would prefer to see is something like that. in fact, just clicking to the tiny button right near the RTE, which extends the RTE full screen, but we lost the tabs to switch from metadata to access control and etc. So it could be improved. So now, what an editor do? He open Word, and he says, I'm going to copy and paste. In fact, this document is not a document of a random document of our customer. It's a document we've made and we are giving to our customers at the beginning of the mission when we are talking about content, about the structuration of content. So we are doing a template in Word who is representative of the hierarchical elements and the content types we will see in the website. It's almost about hierarchical titles, H1, H2, H3, H4 if needed, and about classes of paragraph. So there is, I don't know the word in English, there is a kind of introduction in the beginning of the page. There could be some text valorized in the central part. You can create anything. So just copy, paste, and what you see is that problem. There's problem with the border, the text is white, there are plenty of Microsoft Word. Ah, sorry. Great. So, of course, there is a little brush, which we improve. And this brush says, remove word formatting here, and just say, OK, and all is gone. And your text is representative of what you see in the website. We're working for government websites, so we are very fond of accessibility, and so it just can be have Microsoft Word tags in the HTML we put in the website. So you really have a clean HTML by using this functionality. So save, and you directly see the text you were typing in the RT. So let's go further. Just play with the right column. Just push the green button you already know. Just select in the right tabs content elements about an elected person. So this is a flex content element that you can create. It can be anything. I just take an example. There is a list of names. Just select one of multiple names and just say OK, and you have your content element which appears directly in the right column. So I illustrated that with the basics of TYPO3, which are pages and contents. But in fact, you can just create, edit, delete, hide anything in the front end. We talked about flex content elements. Here's another example with this kind of quick links. You just can edit any news, TT news, cal, Wiki directory, any plugin content directly in front end. What we've just done, it is in the list view of the news, for example, just add a button to say create a new news. Or in the cal list view, create a new event view. Anything you can just edit or create anything in this way. So about the future, and if there is one for this kind of things, because as I said previously, this work cannot be achieved without, I think, the the support of the TYPO3 community, because the work we've done, I'm not a technical guy, or not anymore. So we did it mainly as extensions. Federa is here. He can talk more about the implementations of that, because he did a great part of this job. It relies on some patches to the TYPO3 core, which are in fact some kind of defects, but all is external extensions. So we can have multiple ways to imagine a future for this work. It can be merged to TYPO3 core, why not? It can be hooks to the TYPO3 core. I say hooks, it just gives the requirements to continue to use the extension we made. Or it just can die if TYPO3 just say, no, it's not the way we are thinking about content elements. And so maybe we're still working in this way at Stratis, but it must be a community decision. So what are the improvements we are thinking about content usability? First is to create dashboard to quickly access the creation of structured content. What I call structured content is in fact plugins content like news, like events, because today you just have to go to the page on the website where content is and just push the button. It's great because the contributor knows where the content is, but it could be faster if when he logs in, he saw quickly access button to this task. And normally the creation of news is some kind of regular task, and I think the access to this functionality should be instant. Another little improvement, it's about the list view, which is really powerful, which has a search feature really hidden, totally at the bottom of the page, and how many contributors just don't see this feature. Just put it at the top of the page, nothing else change, and I think it will be a great improvement. One problem we have with the front-end editing, and I didn't call about you, is that the buttons that I show you are really big. And in some kind of situations, it can be problematic because, in fact, what see the contributor is not what will be published, because there are blank spaces for the editing buttons. That's why we create a preview. I didn't talk much about it. And in fact, if you just want to see the page without the editing button, just click on the preview page and everything disappears and you see only what will be published on the website. But attending these conferences, I just got some ideas, and I thought the idea to say, depending on the experience and on the time, on the last time the user log, we can provide different buttons. For the first time, we can say, okay, let's go with this kind of buttons. They are quite explicit, but when a contributor uses this interface in a daily basis, he understood that the content creation of pages is at the top, at the bottom of the page tree. So I think we can provide less intrusive buttons, and why not some hidden buttons like in TYPO3 Neos, which activate at rollover. More attractive layout color choice. I read a lot of studies why we have this gray color in the backend of TYPO3. This just because studies say that when you're using interfaces in the long basics, in the long hour basis, gray is more safe for your eyes. Okay. But when we are talking about occasional contributors, or when we are talking to stakeholders, there is some kind of needed to convince by the beauty of the backend layout. And so I think just changing this gray color, which is not really attractive, to maybe more concentrated colors like white or anything, I think it will be really great in convincing to use TYPO3. Another improvement is a better way to identify the hierarchical titles in the TYPO3 backend. I saw that this feature is currently a work in progress in the next LTS versions, and I'm really happy with that. Other improvements, which maybe are not so easy to implement. The first one is, why the hell is this page tree so tiny? Editor just have a headache at reading the page tree because it's just too small. Improve the fonts of 1 or 2 pixels, and I think there will be a really better user experience. Sorry? I don't know. I don't know. I say I'm not a TYPO3 core developer. I'm sure for a TYPO3 core developer, it's really an easy task. So, bigger and more explicit buttons. Okay, and I forgot something. A way to manage this button. I'm talking about the buttons you can see at the top of each content element. This kind of disk, which are historic, clean, delete, everything, etc. In fact, in many contexts, you cannot implement some of these buttons, and I think there are no possibilities, even in tsconfig, to manage that. If we were able to hide or to customize this button, it would be great. And if we can add labels to these buttons, it will be even greater. Content creation proposal depending on context. Oh, great idea, but I just forgot about that. Content creation proposal depending on context. Oh, not so clear. Content creation. Yeah, that's right. It was what we were talking in a few. Okay, great. Open forms in the more sexy way. As you've seen, when I click in a button, we open forms in full screen view, which is why not a good way. But maybe if we were hoping in some kind of popping with more sexy representation, it will be more fun, but maybe not so usable. A more advanced dashboard, as talked Jens, and I can agree. We only talk in the first dashboard about links to create new contents, to list contents, but a dashboard of recently added pages, of content staging, will be really a good dashboard for contributors. And last part, the speed, because when talking about usability, speed matters, and nowadays speed is still an issue. And because when you just want to say, okay, remove this button, just click on the preview mode, you need to wait the page rendering, and I think it's not so quick to provide a good user experience. Personalized list with advanced search options. I already talked a bit with this functionality, and they said that just touching the list view is just an awful task, and maybe it will never be implemented. But what I would like to see is the ability to skin some list view and to provide content-dependent representation of the list view with advanced and context-dependent search options, because you can imagine that in the backend, the search method of your content elements in list view can be different of the front end. You can provide for contributors more options in searching of contents. Content staging improvements. It's really something important for contributor. using Workspace solves a part of the problem. And I was really happy to attend the conference about content staging during this conference. And I really enjoy to test and use this new way to manage content staging in TYPO3. And finally, a focus on a better usability of part of TYPO3, which I think is really important. It's that. I don't know, you know this field. It's where you select images, it's where you select files. In fact, a lot of contributors use that field in a daily basis, and they must click how many times in this little teeny button, and it's just too small. But what we've gone behind this button is really interesting, because even if the presentation, I think, could be improved, we are using digital asset management for most of our websites. Of course, we are moving to fall. So the contributor can quickly search content files by browsing the page tree, or just simply by entering keywords of the name of this file. And this two-way to search for files is such a great thing, because when you have a really important content tree, a page tree of files, it's just too difficult to remember where I put my content in, and the use of keywords is just a great thing. And another really good functionality of that is the ability to upload directly in the content creation the PDF document or the image you want to publish in your content. You don't need to close your content element, go to the fill module, go to the place where you want to upload your content, upload your content, then go back to what Jens presented, because directly with this tiny functionality, you can, in the way of writing your article, directly upload elements. And I have a question. Maybe I didn't see this functionality in the new 6.2 version of TYPO3. There is file, but this has gone. We have only the ability to choose files by browsing the page tree. It's a little bit annoying, because file provides a powerful way to search files, and a powerful way to upload files by drag and drop in the media management, but no in this context, and I think it's really, really important. So, just another thing, remember that. How can we try to avoid this definitively? We have a security guide, we have a coding guidelines, we have a maintenance guide, we have an installation guide, we have a front-end localization guide. Why not just create a usability guide, which we can start by a wiki page, and everybody can push the best practices about usability with TYPO3, which I think is really, really important for user experience. Thank you. Any questions? Any remarks? Okay, great. Did you like that way to manage content? Okay, great. Hope there will be a future of that. In fact, we're working essentially on long-term support versions. The only experience we had with version 6 is the rebuild of our company website. And it was maybe an experiment process. And for our usage, we maybe don't need front-end editing, so we just don't try this functionality in TYPO3. Okay, it will be great, but as I said previously, maybe we have some kind of requirements, and maybe we can push to the Forge some issues to implement that. And as soon as it will be merged in TYPO3, or maybe even before, we can push all of these extensions in GitHub. I don't know where's the best place to push that. But if someone can experiment, and if someone has other ideas, other ways, other way to improve that, I would be really, really, really interested in discussing about that. Great, thank you.